So this is a story all about how our wedding got turned upside down.
The thing you had a thought about.
Huh? No, do the Fresh Prince theme song.
Me?
Yeah. Cause you cooler.
I'm cooler?
Yeah.
Oh, so now you gonna make it. You want me to do something?
Come on, sing it with me. You be cool.
I'll be cooler.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not doing that.
Why not? Cause you're too cool to have a little fun.
No, I have fun.
But you don't want to sing the Fresh Prince.
I don't want to mess up. All right, this is the story. How we started from the bottom and now
Okay, I guess my song wasn't cool enough, so we had to switch songs. Anyway, for those of you that don't know, we got engaged December 14th, 2018, after being together for 5 years. Then we had a 2-year engagement. We planned on getting married at the Cruise Building in Miami on December 4th, 2020. And we booked that venue in March 2019. So this is a story all about how all of our wedding plans changed. Why are you looking at me like that? This is a story about how all our wedding plans changed.
All right, what should we tell them first?
Okay.
Start this off.
So we booked our dream venue in March 2019. And then what happened from there?
Things was great, but
Look at me, you gotta look at them.
coronavirus came.
Coronavirus!
And just like everybody else, our lives got
turned upside down. That's why I said the song.
Down,
this is a story all about how life got turned upside down.
Our lives got impacted by it.
Yes, so we were planning and paying for our dream wedding. Coronavirus happened. Well, let's start with earlier in the year. My sister and my now brother-in-law got married in February. They just slightly missed the pandemic coming to the US. So they got married, wedding went off without a hitch, but their honeymoon got canceled because of coronavirus. Now at that time, we're seeing everything shut down, but we're like, oh, our wedding is not until December, we'll be fine. Well, we planned on sending out invitations in July, and we were told by the venue to wait. So they said, oh, it's July, things are gonna get better, wait until September. Then when September came, wait until October. Then when October came, oh, well, things are looking up, wait until November. And we're looking at each other like, okay, I guess we're gonna be just sending out last minute invites. We're gonna be still good for December. November came, okay? I'll never forget it because I was in the gym and randomly thought, oh shoot, we're a couple days into November and they haven't reached out to me. The wedding is a month away. So I called my contact at the venue and I said, hey, what's the latest? Are we still gonna be good for next month? And she said, you can have ceremony, you can have dinner, but you cannot have a DJ or
mingle.
Dancing.
You can't mingle.
Wah, wah, wah. So
Can't touch each other.
So we had already been stressing because we didn't know for sure what was going to be happening July until this happened in November. But obviously this took it to a whole nother level because clearly, okay, y'all may not know, but I like to dance and have fun sometimes. So clearly we cannot have a wedding with no dancing. That means it's not a celebration. How you gonna get married and not celebrate?
Definitely need to celebrate. That's a lot to celebrate about.
So how were you feeling when I told you no dancing at the Cruise Building?
I always had hope that things changing for the better for us. So when this time was happening, I was always telling her, you know, things are gonna change. It's gonna get better. God's not gonna do this to us.
Why you have to glide in it?
Hey, I believe in the man. So, good intentions, good vibes, you know. And I always kept her hopes up, exactly. But when I heard the dancing was out, I was like, nah, we need to move the whole game. We need to go to another field.
So then that's where another nightmare started.
Oh, yeah.
We were fighting with vendors down south to get our money back.
Well, it wasn't that much of a fight with Cruz.
Yes, so Cruz Building agreed to give us our money back because they agreed that they could not uphold their end of the contract because they could not provide the services that they were originally contracted for. Caterer, on the other hand, we're still working on it, okay? Still working on it. So it was quite stressful, wasn't fun. If you can imagine, since March 2019, having your eyes set on a particular venue, one that you felt was 1,000% you and your future husband, personality-wise, look and feel, and then a month before your wedding should be happening, when everything is pretty much paid for, you then have to fight with vendors for money back, and the whole thing is up in the air. He said to me at one point, because at first when we were unsure, I was like, well, let's maybe get married at the courthouse, move the wedding until the end of next year, and have everything as a 1-year anniversary. And I was totally against that when this was first presented to me. And I said, because when people do courthouse weddings, they never actually have their real wedding.
I wasn't for that.
Yeah, he was totally against it. But, you know, we had already paid for pretty much everything. So if we moved it to next year, it wouldn't be like having a courthouse wedding and not knowing when you're having a wedding. It would be our wedding is already paid for. The date is just moved a year. He made a very good point. And it was, how do we know that if we move the date, these vendors are not going to go out of business a year from now if the pandemic doesn't improve? He's like, if they go out of business, then what? We've lost everything. That's when he got me. And that's when we started fighting for money back. So we went from dream wedding to wedding up in the air, waiting out to see what was going to happen with the pandemic, to canceled wedding and no wedding at all, to let's go see Bella Colina in Orlando. They happened to have December 6th, and we threw together a wedding without even getting the money back from the caterer in Miami, threw together a wedding here in Orlando in, what was it, 2 weeks?
I think it was 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe 2.5 to not exaggerate.
To me, it was, I had to uphold the date and the time because we waited so long to get married, and we worked so hard. I worked, push overtime and stuff like that, so it was really valuable to me to do it on a date or closer to the date that we had, because I knew it was going to make her happy, and I'm all for that. And also, like she said, I told her I don't believe in a lot of these vendors upholding their part with everything going on with the coronavirus.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother story that we're not going to go into because we don't want to throw anyone under the bus. But
if we have to, we're going to put you out there, player.
At this point,
put you out there.
At this point, we do not want to throw anyone under the bus.
We're going to be nice right now.
We will say that the Cruz Building agreed and gave us our money back. So that definitely helped with us being able to move forward with Bella Colina. A lot of things went wrong. It's been a stressful year for us, as I'm sure it's been for a lot of people with the pandemic happening. So grateful that we were able to pull off our wedding.
A beautiful wedding.
Beautiful wedding, very close to the original date. So the original date was Friday, December 4th. We ended up changing everything, sending very last minute email invites for December 6th. So it was pretty close. December 6th was the only weekend date that Bella Colina had, and our wedding planner literally looked at me and she said, I want to do everything to get in my power to get you guys married this year, because I don't know what's going to happen next year. So if we don't make it this year, we don't know when it's going to happen.
Exactly. You know, ideas got thrown out there, changing the wedding to Mexico.
Yeah, at one point we were going to do that last minute.
But, you know, we had to deal with passports and stuff like that. With everything going on, we don't know if family members going to get their passport in time. I was already dealing with a lot with the bachelor party. It was just a successful bachelor party. I had a great time. The guys had a great time. I think we experienced moments, and we're gonna always remember those moments. But it was a struggle.
He means getting everybody together.
Getting everybody together.
They were supposed to go somewhere overseas and ended up changing it to California.
That changed multiple times.
Vegas.
But we wound up in California going to Vegas. It was great. How did your bachelorette party go?
Fun. So I wasn't expecting to talk about that on this video, but we haven't been. We'll also upload this to not just Instagram.
Well, you can.
Too. No, I'll go ahead. I was gonna say we haven't been on our YouTube in a while, so I'm gonna upload this video to IGTV and YouTube. So I'll go ahead, since YouTube doesn't know the story, IGTV got a glimpse of it. So their bachelor party was amazing. They had a wonderful time. Their plans got changed from international to local. That way all the guys were able to attend. Not local, but you know, in the States. They had a great time in October. The girls were all hyped. Mind you now, at this point, we're moving forward with bachelor and bachelorette parties when we literally don't know when the wedding is going to be. So that's the point we were in. So October, the guys went on their trip. November, the girls were set to go to Belize. I had mermaid nails done. Everybody was all packed up. I had one of my best friends fly from New York to Texas. My god sister fly from Georgia to Texas. They met each other. They were flying to Belize together. Me and my friend Jessica drove down to Miami to fly from Miami with the rest of the girls. So everybody is all hyped. We've got the bridal gift bags. We've got bride babe mask. We're ready to go. We're packed up. We've had breakfast. We're on the plane, okay? On the plane. And the pilot says, there's going to be a delay. We can't land at Belize Airport right now because the runway is flooded. They're trying to clear it out. They held us on the plane for about 45 minutes only to tell us that we could not leave that day. We'd have to leave in the morning. So you can imagine how bummed we were. We go back to my sister's house and Jessica starts looking up pictures and videos of Belize at the moment. And at that time, there were people using canoes to go down the street. So I'm looking and I'm like, why in the hell would they be letting us fly here if people are using canoes to get through the streets? So I made the executive decision not to go to Belize because even if they cleared out the runway, the footage of people on canoes, it was like, what are we gonna arrive there to? So we decided to instead get an Airbnb in Miami. Fun? No, it was a hurricane weekend. So not only did Belize get canceled, we were stuck with hurricane winds in a high-rise condo where the winds literally sound like ghosts whispering in your ear. Wait for it. And flood warning notices on the door. So that's how our bachelorette trip went, but I'm glad they had a good time. So anyway, we get back. Our bachelorette weekend was the weekend of November 7th. And literally the whole wedding was put together at Bella Collina after that. So it's been a whirlwind. We went from 100 guests at Cruise Building. So we never sent invitations, thank the Lord, but we had 100 count guest list. And when we switched to Bella Collina, because of everything that was happening with the pandemic, we cut it in half. So we went from 100 guests to 50. That was hard.
Yeah, it's very hard.
We both were pretty bummed having to make such a drastic cut to the guest list. But throughout the process, I tried to make it better by telling him that, you know, everyone understands that there's a pandemic. Obviously, we would have loved to have so many more people there, so many more loved ones there that we couldn't because of the count. But what made it bittersweet, but what gave it some sweetness was that we were able to make it more over the top for the people that were there. So we were able to have steak and lobster for dinner. We were able to have tableside wine service. We were able to upgrade the open bar. So it, as bittersweet as it was, because it was super hard. It was so many loved ones, so many more loved ones that we would have loved to be a part of our big day that we were simply unable to invite. Which reminds me, we had a bridal party of almost 20 people. We started with 18. So you can imagine having a guest list of 50 when your bridal party and their significant others is about 25. Okay, so imagine 25 accounted for. You have 25 left, and those 25 remaining have to be split between the bride and the groom. So very, very hard. We weren't able to include a lot of people because of that. But like I said, it was very bittersweet because we were able to make it more over the top, and it was a lot more intimate with less people. What do you want to add?
I want to add the stress I had with this tuxedo place.
Can I have some more wine for this? Let's get some wine, because this is a lot.
I had a certain way that I want my guys to look and stuff like that. And then being that the fact that the girls had theirs on point.
Hey, why didn't you put a topper in this? I got it. Go ahead.
Being that the girls on her side already had their things and dresses, I thought it was our duty to show up. So
fresh. Y'all do need to show up fresh, because you know the girls
are
gonna be on point.
And be on time and be on point, you know. Because, you know, guys, we get a bad rep. You get a real bad rep. So
women get a bad rep for being on time.
No, we get a bad rep for playing around.
I'll tell y'all about that later.
We get a bad rep for playing around.
Okay.
You know, we get especially around weddings. You know, some of the groomsmen come drunk from the night before, stuff like this. So we get that kind of rep. So I wanted everybody to have their P's and Q's lined up. And man, it was hard doing it, but it was successful, and I saw the determination of these guys wanted to be included in the wedding, the value that they had of the whole ceremony and everything. And I really salute you guys for doing your best, because we was doing some last minute, I mean, everything.
Well, start with, because you got derailed, start with how many suits did the tuxedo site get wrong?
Oh, okay.
And how you guys navigated through it?
Me already being bothered with a custom suit that I designed by myself. And I'm having to go back and forth because the actual designer that helped me get my design to real life wasn't that bad. But like I always have this problem when I meet new alterations. I have a certain way I like my suit to fit. And some of these people, they're not up to the task, and I gotta push them. So, you know, with that frustration on top of that, and with it being so close to date because of the design, and because of the uniqueness of the design and how I wanted things, the details and everything, was a bit of stressful when I had a suit company not sending the right suits out to the gentlemen. And they were sending out different colors, different ornaments, different styles. I mean, it was crazy. From the pants, we didn't know what was coming. We ordered, we knew what we ordered, but we didn't know what was coming.
6 out of 9 groomsmen orders were messed up. Now let me say
no, it was more than 6. It was like 8 out of 9. 8 out of 9. Danny and Rob was the only one who got the jackets.
And you had 9. So
and 7. I had 9. So that's 7. Okay, 7.
So yeah, and his brother said last night that he was Groomzilla. So I wasn't Bridezilla, so he was Groomzilla.
Basically, I was like, long as the fabrics was close to each other and we had satin lapels, because I had a certain look that I want. The ties came out perfect. Everybody got the ties, the shirts. It was this dumb site. Should I put them out there? Should I put them out there?
Go ahead.
Tuxedo USA. I don't know if they speak English, but they're supposed to be located in the USA, but they was just sending out crappy orders to everybody.
They were literally sending out the wrong orders. So the guys were supposed to have velvet jackets with a satin lapel.
So
a couple of guys got velvet jackets with a velvet lapel. That was the most common mistake. But then they topped all the errors they had made thus far by sending the best man a gray jacket. So everyone's jackets are black. So even when they messed up, it was black all velvet instead of black velvet with a satin lapel. They sent the best man a gray jacket.
Good thing that it was a tailor that I usually deal with. She's a sweet lady. She's not too far from my home, and she usually does a lot of my suits. She came up with a great price to change the lapels last minute, and she did a great job. You wouldn't even tell that the lapel was changed. She just laid the satin fabric over, and for $60 changed the whole suit around.
When other people were quoting us $160 and $180, or just buy a whole new jacket when they were asked to do it. So she came in clutch. Some of the guys were picking up their suits, like picking up their jacket because of the lapel changes the day before the wedding.
Let's just say my brother, who was the best man, picked up his jacket at 1 o'clock, and our wedding was at 4 o'clock.
Oh, his wasn't even the day before. His was the day of. Wow, I didn't even know that.
So, big ups to my brother. I love you, and I thank you. I'm sorry for all the stress, but I was stressed out myself.
He was not having it. Like, I was like, velvet lapels, it's a velvet jacket. So I was like, whether the lapel is velvet or satin, like, who cares? Everybody's going to look nice and uniformed. It's a velvet jacket. He was like, no, they need to get a change. They got the wrong one. They need to get a change. I was like, but it's not their fault they got the wrong one. It's the freaking suit company's fault they got the wrong one. He's like, well, if they would have ordered it earlier, it could have been exchanged. So it's their fault. I was like, oh, shit. Tried to help y'all for a whole week, okay? He was not having it. Yeah. He was not having it.
But I love these guys. It all came out great. The guys came out looking great. And I appreciate the effort that they did. I appreciate the moment that they provided for me. I'll always remember this, and I always appreciate it.
So let's go, I want to say for a second, I am the try to find the silver lining girl, because sometimes things go hella wrong, and it's easy to get depressed and worked up. I have been dealing with what seems like thing after thing after thing after thing, and then you get to a point where you're just overwhelmed and you're like, God, how much more can I take? So with that said, I want to go back to finding the silver lining. So with Belize, the silver lining was very hard to find. We'll say that. It's very, very hard to find. I will say I had a great time with the girls who were able to join us at the condo in Miami, even though we couldn't do what we really wanted to do, even though, you know, we couldn't go to the beach when we got stuck in Miami or anything because of the hurricane. But the silver lining was we were able to spend time together, and I had to take a moment to thank God for what he may have saved us from that we didn't know about. Maybe there was a reason that we weren't supposed to be in Belize, so we're gonna roll with that for the silver lining. The silver lining for our wedding, we have been on cloud 9. So we're recording this video on Tuesday, December 8th. We just got married on Sunday. We have been, yeah, still fresh. We have been on, well, how do you feel? Because I'm doing all the talking. How do you feel being married now?
I still feel in the moment. I still got the songs, our first dance, the song riding through my mind.
Nobody in the world tonight. Ain't nobody in the world but you and I. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise.
So it was great.
Yeah, so it's like the silver lining for us with this is we were really bummed. We were bummed that we couldn't have 100 people. We were bummed that it couldn't be at the Cruise Building anymore, a venue that we felt was 1,000% us. After everything was said and done Sunday night, I think we both felt like everything happens for a reason, and that venue was where we were supposed to be.
Exactly.
Everything was so perfect, so beautiful. And it really felt like the next day we were like, that's where we were supposed to get married. So we thought we were supposed to be married at the Cruise Building. And as much as we loved it, Bella Kalina worked out so flawlessly that you couldn't help but feel like that was God's plan. How about we talk about a couple of special, the whole wedding was special, but how about we give them a few really special moments for us?
While we was dancing, out of surprise, fireworks come out the background, and it was when I was turning her and I'm looking at her, and then fireworks come out behind her. It was so beautiful.
And he literally said the next morning, he was like, I will never forget that moment. He was like, the way you looked, the fireworks behind you, I'll never forget. He was randomly humming the You and I song. I think, and it's probably one of the simplest things that may seem like corny to other people, but we were waiting, okay, because they told us that when we went to sign the contract for the venue, to see the venue, they told us that after the wedding, they put us in a special wine cellar so that after the ceremony, so that we can have a moment to ourselves. And I was really looking forward to that moment. So when they said that, I thought that it would be right after the ceremony. I was forgetting that they would take as many family photos and, bridal party photos that they could, and then take us to that moment. So I literally remember like looking around and I'm like, it's too many people. They're not listening to the wedding planner. They're not moving to the cocktail hour fast enough. Just go. I just want them to go so I can have my moment with my man. Like, I'm waiting for my moment. And I'm like, with the wedding planner, Carlisha, I'm like, when are we going to be taken to our separate spot? Because everything was so magical coming down the aisle, but then it was a little chaotic trying to organize everybody for photos. And when they whisked everyone away for cocktail hour and we had a moment to ourselves to just hug and walk to the wine cellar, it was exactly what I needed. Like, when I say exactly what I needed, exactly. So we went down to the wine cellar. They had some food and some champagne for us. Carlisha gave us probably a good 15 minutes alone before she came in to bustle my train. And when she came in, he looked at her and he said, she's the best decision I ever made. And I started smiling. And then he said, also the most expensive. And that was definitely one of my highlights, because it was super cute and super sweet when he said it.
And super real.
And then after that, I looked at him and I was like, now I'm relaxed. Now I'm ready to go greet everybody. Now I'm ready to party. I just needed a moment alone with you. Like, everything has happened. I didn't want all those people around. I just wanted a moment alone with him. Another highlight for me was our violinist. So his name is David Bethan. He's at Follow the Fiddle. He was amazing. Like, one of the best decisions we made for the event.
One of the best. Carlisha was one of them too.
Yes, for sure. Thank you, Carly.
Thank you, Carly.
Another gratitude moment, I was about to say silver lining, but this is more of a gratitude moment. So I was stalking the rain all week, the weather all week before the wedding. And the Monday and Tuesday before, the weather looked like it was going to be amazing. All sunshine, high of about 65, low of about 50, perfect weather, right? And then Wednesday, because I'm a psycho and I couldn't just leave it alone and check it one time, Wednesday I check it and it says rain. I had my little meltdown and I said, God, I'm sorry. I don't want you to show me that it could be worse.
But I apologize.
I trust that your plan is best. I trust that things always work out for the good of those who love him. Y'all see, I could go from cursing to taking back to church in a minute. But I literally had to catch myself. I was like, I need to be grateful for being here. I need to be grateful for what I have. I need to be grateful for life because it's a gift and it's a blessing. So I had my 2-minute meltdown. I snapped myself out of it. And then I said, I'm not going to worry about the weather. If the plans have to get changed, the plans have to get changed. I'm going to pray for the best. And the most important thing is that we are together and we are married in front of our loved ones. And we are ready to take the next step in life as husband and wife. So it did rain on our wedding, but it rained about 45 minutes from the end. So we had great weather and the wedding was set to end at 10. At about 9:20, it started raining. And Carlisha came out because we were outside. Carlisha came out and she's like, bride, come on, let's go, it's raining. And I was like this dancing and I was like, I don't care. So the girl who was freaking out, it can't rain, why would you do this to me, Lord, when I saw the weather on Wednesday, was dancing in the rain. And I was like, I don't care, I'm good, it's the end of the night. I literally asked her to check her watch. I was like, what time is it? She's like, you got about 30, 45 minutes left. And I was like, well, I'm not worried about it. I don't care if I get wet at this point, I'm having fun. And she was like, okay, all right, let me see if the DJ will keep playing a little bit. So she went, checked on him. He ended up covering up his equipment so it wouldn't get messed up. And he played until about 20 minutes to closing when it started raining too much for his equipment, and then he packed up. I'm laughing, y'all, because he has so much to say when the camera not rolling. But when the camera rolling, he get on here and act like he's timid. He is not timid at all. He normally have a lot to say, okay? He's just not as comfortable in front of the camera as I am yet.
I will say, and that's where I got the quotes from earlier. The night before, I'm a tattoo artist. So my brother figured he wanted a tattoo. I think it was when I was supposed to do his tattoo?
Friday night.
Friday night. Saturday
was a rehearsal.
Yeah, was a rehearsal. And Friday night, we was running around. I visited the tailor again and had an argument with her again. And that argument made my head hurt. So I came back and I was like, you know, I'm still gonna tattoo him because, you know, I try to live up to my word all the time. I think a man should always live up to his word. So I'm sitting there with my brother and we're talking and all that, and I'm telling him all the things that's happening and all the things that was wrong. And he knows what's going on with all the guys' jackets in this company. And I tell him this is why I'm having a headache, a migraine. So I go upstairs, come back, wash myself, thinking I'm gonna be able to put some cold water on my head and it's gonna be all good, but headache starts again. So we sitting there and he's like, yo, listen, you're always, anytime you're gonna try to do something right, the devil is always gonna try to stop you.
This is the first time I'm hearing this, guys.
So, and I believe he was saying that through my father. And even though my head was pounding and all that, I could analyze what he's saying. He was saying, you know, it's going to be a struggle when you're doing the right thing. It's always going to be a struggle when you're doing the right thing. He's telling me about his struggle when he was doing the right, trying to do the right thing for him and his family, in his entrepreneurship, and it makes sense when you try to do the right thing. And I understand a lot of men are scared of these positions in life, but go through it, because if you're doing something good, it's worth it. A little bit of pain won't hurt you. Tough men go through pain.
For sure. That was good advice.
Thank you.
It's true. Thank you, Rashad. The devil did try to stand in our way. Really, really tested us this year in general, especially when the pandemic worsened with everything that was happening. We could have easily said, forget this is not supposed to happen. What if this is a sign? We could have easily given up. And instead we persevered. We knew that we were doing the right thing.
And we're not the only ones, because I've seen other couples today getting married.
Yeah, today we went to turn in our marriage license. Yeah, we went to turn in our marriage license at the courthouse instead of mailing it in, so that our marriage could be recorded right away. So we are officially husband and wife.
Yeah. So if you love somebody, do what you want to do.
Yeah, so we are officially.
Don't let nothing stop you. Government mandates, nothing like that stop you.
So we did it. Just wanted to share a little bit behind the scenes with you guys. I know on our stories we've shared some footage from the wedding. Another cool thing that I just thought of, we often are glued to our phones. This wedding, our wedding, was the first time in as long as I can remember that I did not have a phone in my hand, that I did not care where my phone was. So I actually enjoyed living in the moment, enjoyed becoming one, enjoyed our wedding. I did not, the last photo on my phone before the wedding was the night before. I took a future Mrs. photo. My god sister took it from me. So I took this photo the night before the wedding. I had no photos on my phone after that photo. No videos on my phone after that photo. Everything that I've shared on my story has been what someone else took and sent me. So we literally did not, we didn't have our phones. We were totally unplugged. We enjoyed the moment. At the end of the night, we were laying in bed about 1 a.m. looking at everyone's stories, trying to relive everything that just happened, because we didn't have any of our own footage. So everything we shared has been what someone else took for us. So it was really nice to enjoy such an important moment together and be totally unplugged. So that's another highlight. But to all the pandemic brides, I know we're not the only ones, and grooms, we're not the only ones whose wedding plans were derailed or canceled. I wish you all the best. When you get to your marriage, when you get to your ceremony, if you decide to still have one, it will be amazing. It will be just as God intended it to be.
Stand up for your love, man.
So we definitely wish you guys all the best. We know what you're going through. It's been a trying year, but we are here, married before Christmas, in our favorite month. It's definitely my favorite month of the year. We became a couple 7 years ago in December. We got engaged in December. Now we are married in December. So yeah, that's just a little bit of what was going on behind the scenes. It's a very little bit, a lot. I can't even tell you the little things here and there that we haven't mentioned that went wrong. But everything ended exactly the way it was supposed to, and it was beautiful. And with all the stress beforehand, we kept saying, we can't wait till all of this is over. Can't wait till all of this is over. Ask him what I've been saying the last 2 days.
Just wish it lasted a little bit longer.
Yeah, we went from saying we can't wait till this is over to the last 2 days. We've been like, man, it's over. Like, man, like, and now I'm like, okay, but when we get our photos and our video footage back, then we can relive it. And then when we do our post-wedding shoot next year, then we can relive it. So we were, with all the stress, so excited for it to get here and be over. And now it's really sad that it's all done. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No. See you next time, if I'll be here.
That's not funny. I'm editing that out too. You're not funny. Anyway, why you stretch your eyebrows like that. Anyway, I think that's all we have to share with you guys. Our little behind.
We shared too much.
No, we didn't.
I'm telling you all our business.
So now we gotta go. But anyway, babe, show them our rings real quick.
Bling bling. Every time I come around, I say back. Whoa. Really nice.
So I don't know if you can tell. You probably can't tell, but my band, which I'm wearing on the top, is his exact band in half. Put it this way, babe. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's kind of cool because they were custom made by JB Jewelers in Windermere, and they are identical. Mine's just smaller. So anyway, thanks for taking the time to watch this and learn a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes with us. And to all our pandemic brides and grooms, maybe you want to talk to somebody who's been through what you've been through. Send me a message, okay? Happy to help.
Don't send me no message.
Groomzilla. I told y'all he was Groomzilla. Send me a message. I can help you through it, okay?
Mess with her.
And if you're in Orlando, I got the best of the best venues to help you. The best of the best vendors to help you too.
Unless you want me to design you something.